News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
And very good evening to you and welcome to Newsline Live. Today we're taking a break from politics. Good idea? We don't know. We'll let you decide. We report, you decide, as we always do. We're broadcasting from the News First studios in Dawson Street in Colombo, and my guest, my next guest tonight is a person who hails from one of Asia's most successful political dynasties. The father was a prime minister, the mother was a prime minister, the sister was the president, and the brother was speaker and cabinet minister. But yet, my guest chose a life out of politics, and to tell us the rest of the story and a very successful foray into helping people with differently abled people, helping them through the performing arts. She's right here to tell us her story 20 years on. Miss Sunethra Bandaranaike. Very good evening to you.
Good evening for us. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a great pleasure. The Capital Maharaja Group is much obliged that you've come here on our program.
Thank you.
The book, Wings, all about your foundation.
Yes, that's right.
The story, Wings, about the story of the Sunera Foundation. It says here, talking about you, her heart beats to the rhythm of Sunera.
Yes.
Tell me about the passion.
Absolutely right, what is said there. Well, it is a passion with me. Absolutely a passion. You see, although I don't have children, I am acutely aware that there are many, many thousands of young people who were once children, now maybe teenagers, adults, whatever, who have been born into this world with a disability. Mm-hmm. And they have to live their entire life facing society which has chosen to stigmatize them and to marginalize them. So they have no lives that would give them any kind of meaningfulness or joy. Mm-hmm. And this is something I became acutely aware of. And the more I looked into that, the more I realized that this was the case in this country. And although there are many laws that pertain to helping and supporting these people and their families, sadly they have remained just writing on pieces of paper. Nothing much has happened for them at all. So I felt this is one area that I can absolutely commit myself to and do the best I can with a good team of trustees, good trainers and good supporters to enhance their lives.
And but tell me what prompted you to found, to establish the Sunera Foundation. What was the driving force? When was the realization that you needed to do something like that?
Well, a very dear friend of mine called Wolfgang Stanger, German, living in England, has been doing this sort of work for many decades before I got into it. He used to come to Sri Lanka often, and he used to work with a few people here from the slums around Colombo. And he said, look, Sunethra, you are very interested in the performing arts. You have a trust of your own, fund in the performing arts. So I know how deeply you care for it. Would you like to see what I'm doing? So I did. Mm. And he said, would you like to get involved? I said, yes, please. I would love to get involved. That's how I got into it first.
And these are in the main, or almost exclusively, for children, youth, who
I would say youth. I wouldn't say children, because we don't take anybody under 12 or 13.
Right. So youth.
Youth.
They're
you can
all
say youth.
They're physically differently abled?
every single one, and we have 1,000 young people we work with all over the country. Everyone has a disability, from not so severe to very severe. Yes.
And butterflies will always fly.
Yes.
That was it a play?
It was a drama which was
Yes.
staged.
It received great acclaim in Europe.
No, it's the second one. First one was Butterflies Will Always Fly. With the success of that, which we performed in Sri Lanka, all over, Wolfgang Stanger said, let's do another one. I said, oh, all right. You can do it, you can raise the funds. I said, all right. That was called Flowers Will Always Bloom. And that was the most stunning piece of drama I have seen at that time. To do with the conflict we were having in the country at that, and what damage a conflict can do to people, particularly ethnic conflict. It destroys people, it destroys friendships, it destroys their lives, lives of their loved ones, their everything. It tears everything apart. And this story was about that. We had disabled soldiers, about 10 or 12 young soldiers. Then we had young Tamils and Muslims from the East who were not disabled but dislocated. And we had the third category was those who were born with disabilities, whatever ethnic group they belonged to. So we had a cast of 40. Cast of 40, which we took to England, performed there, standing ovations. We were invited by the Commonwealth Foundation. At their own expense, we were sent to Brisbane to perform at the Chogam, and so on and so forth. Then 2 other productions were done, but this was outstanding.
How difficult was it to train these youth?
All right, well, at that time, they were all living together for about 6 weeks.
Right.
So they were rehearsing right through the day with little breaks to go for walks or enjoy, come back and rehearse. Some were a bit difficult, but most of them, they take to this kind of thing so happily and readily because their lives have no meaning for them. Nobody takes the slightest notice of them. And they want to do things, but somebody has to recognize that and bring them on board. And that's what we have been doing from then.
So you've been
now.
creating the space for them to be themselves.
Yes.
To express themselves.
Absolutely right. Create the space, meaning literally space, and also train them, identify their latent talents. Our trainers are very good at that. And having done it, they would tap into these talents and allow the kids to develop them.
Thank you very much for your questions, ladies and gentlemen. There's some questions we can't take this kind of questions, all right? But we cannot, well, there's a technical difficulty going on, control room. The public is saying that they cannot hear Miss Bandaranaike through her microphone. There's one here, it says, it is so soothing to listen to someone like this rather than politicians. There's a word before that, I can't use that on air, all right? Okay. Do you wear hush puppies? Someone's asking that.
No.
No.
I used to wear hush puppies when I was a student in the university in England. Is here? No. What a crazy question.
No, there's a meaning to that, but I should share that up off air. But no, honestly, this is wonderful stuff that the Sunera Foundation is doing. But as I always thought, was it a sort of typo error? Because your name's Sunethra, and the foundation is Sunera. It's just, you know, just a little bit off. I was wondering whether you forgot to press the F7 button.
Well, many people have asked me that question. I was looking for a name for our foundation when we were about to set it up formally. So I spoke to my dear good friend Thissa Besekara, whose Sinhala was brilliant, so was his English. And I said, Thissa, please find a name. So he found 2 or 3 names, but he said, this is the one I really like. I said, all right, but is that a bit of my name? He said, no, it's not. I said, then tell me what it means. It is really referring to, in I think Sanskrit, the Himalayan mountains, which are massive, solid, not moving, not shaking. You can depend on it to be there always. So, Mera means mountain, Su probably means big. That's how Sunera came about.
You could almost be talking about our channel, Sirisa. We are here to stay, and we've been here for a while, and we intend staying.
In spite of all sorts of attempts to, yes, indeed.
Of course. That's all part of the course.
Part of the challenge.
Well, indeed it is. And we have no qualms about that.
Well done.
We will be here. I thought I'd do that proud. Now then, over the years, 20 years you've been at this.
Actually, it's almost 22 now, yeah.
All right. And so how has the challenge, the journey been in terms of raising funds and keeping it going? And how was the passion, also importantly, how was the passion kept going?
Well, let me answer your first question first. That is, we started small. First, we had to train young people to handle these kids. So that took a while. We were funded by the British Council, and they came with a nice chunk of money, and we were able to train about 3 or 4 dozen young people. That's how we started. Then we had to tap into the communities to see which families had a disabled child, and there the Grama Sevakas, Grama Niladaris were very helpful. They gave us the lists. Then we got them together and started working with them. A lot of them stayed on, maybe 2 or 3 dropped out. So that part was okay. What was really difficult was, for the trainers to get into the swing of it, get their feet firmly on the ground, because they had never, ever worked in theatre, performing arts, nor had they worked with differently able people. But I found, to my amazement, although, as I said earlier, society turns away from, these young people were the opposite. They loved them, they embraced them, and they said, we will do this for as long as we can. They have got married, they have children, but they are still with us.
So the secret was to find the right people.
That is right. And then funding, of course, has always been a problem. We have gone to many places. Norwegians were very good at funding, gave us a lot of money. The Indian government was very supportive. As I said, the British Council. Some embassies gave small amounts of money, the World Bank, and the business community here, some.
Was that all driven because you were Sunethra Bandaranaike? And you are?
Well, I can't say no. Yes, it does carry a lot of weight. Because not just the name, but they feel they can trust us. We have been honest as politicians. We have not robbed the country. We have, and they see me as somebody who's transparent, who's honest up front, and also comes from a family which has properties and money. So we don't have to pinch little bits of money that comes into the trust to support the kids. Far from it. I have put a lot of my own money into it. So And I think I'm a bit of a convincing talker. When I start talking about my work to somebody whom I'm reaching out to for funds.
The book says that it is your ability to cajole and convince and to keep going on and on until you get what you want.
Yes, otherwise how do I raise money? Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
difficult for them to say no.
I see, and after all, because it is for a good cause.
Absolutely. That is what it is. I am only explaining to them and elaborating on it and embroidering on it a little bit. But the work is solidly there. And a community of people whose lives have honestly changed so much.
And on that note, we'll go for a short break and take a quick peek at tonight's primetime news. We are, of course, in conversation with Ms. Sunethra Bandaranaike from the Sunera Foundation. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with Ms. Sunethra Bandaranaike from the Sunera Foundation. Several messages here telling us that they're very interested and very thankful about your program helping these youth.
That's good to know.
How many over the years do you think have been involved in these programs of yours?
You're talking of the workshop participants, are you?
Yes.
About 5,000.
About 5,000?
Yeah, you know, they come, after a few years they go, some even get married, you know, so they don't stay forever. So I would say across the board about 5,000.
As I told you before, when I discussed the possibility of you accepting our invitation, no program with Bandaranaike is complete without a political question, or two even. Somebody is making a statement: when you're wealthy and established, it's easy to raise funds. Foreign aid is easy as long as the people with disabilities are made happy. That's all that matters. Thank you very much. Nice question. Now then, another one, but this is very political. What do you feel, Miss B, if your father had not brought the singular-only issue, the country would have been thriving by now? The burghers left, then the clever Tamils left, and we are left with the others. Want to answer that?
Yes, I would like to answer that. He was my father, but I agree with what he says. I have always held that view. I may be talking out of turn, but the truth must be so told. Yes. Why he did it is anybody's guess. Opportunism, to be popular politically, I don't know, but what this person says is true. And it saddens me deeply.
Thank you for being honest, upfront and open. It's all part of the Newsline ethos in any way.
Yeah, thank you.
And, all right, well, there are many people saying that Miss B is looking much younger than her younger sister.
Oh.
So I don't know how you're going to take it when you meet the former president, President Chandrika, and so on. But honestly, this is an ongoing program. How many workshops do you have all over the country?
38.
38.
38 workshops in the north, in the east, in the south, and the west, and the central hills, in the tea plantations.
And are they permanent, dedicated Sunera Foundation only workshops? Or?
Yes, yes, they're our workshops.
Do you own the buildings or?
No,
what?
we don't, because we have no money to own buildings.
Right.
But people have been very, very supportive. We have our workshops in church halls, halls in Buddhist temples, halls in kovils, community centers, schools. So we pay a very nominal amount and we can use it every week on that particular day.
I see.
Yeah. So
okay.
we don't own it, and tea plantations, the management give us spaces there. because we are working
So
with
you
their
just go there
laborers'
and
kids.
use that space.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, these children, apparently even if you're not there, you phone maybe even 4 or 5 times during the time that they're doing their number training and practicing and so on. So you obviously, judging by the number of calls you make, you can't keep away, and you're using technology to keep in touch. How uplifting is it to you when you see these children being themselves?
I can't find words to describe how I feel. It's totally uplifting, and if I walk into a workshop, I try to sit quietly and let them get on with it, but the kids recognize me. They all come running, they hug me, they kiss me. Oh, it's unbelievable. Come, you must come and work with us. Now we are going to kneel, you must kneel with us. Come on. You know, they are pulling me into it.
Do you do a bit of singing, a bit of dancing with the children,
Not
with
singing,
the youth?
but movements, yes.
Movements.
Yes.
And, but of course, this blessed pandemic, COVID-19, what's that done to your operation?
Breaks my heart. We have had to temporarily close down our workshops because we can't take a risk. Differently abled children are vulnerable. They are a very vulnerable group. So if we can't run the risk of any of them, you know, catching the virus.
Right. So is it on hold now?
Oh yes, absolutely on hold. We pay our trainers their salaries, slightly reduced, but they get, all of them get paid monthly. My office staff gets paid monthly because it's only fair to do that. Because some of those people a lot of them are married with families. But we have told them we can't pay you the full salary because we can barely afford it, but we will pay close enough to your full salary. And they're happy with that. And they, much more than me, keep in touch with the mothers all the time. The mothers, and there is a group, like a WhatsApp group. So exchange their views and their thoughts, and if they have any problems. So that keeps them bonded with each other, even if the workshops are not happening.
I see.
That's very important to us.
Have you ever tried any sort of Zoom stuff?
Very interesting, you should ask me that for us, because just last week we discussed that. Shall we look into that? But of course the problem is a lot of the mothers don't have the sort of phones that are needed for Zoom calls. But we said at least let's try wherever we can. And maybe some mothers might go and buy phones. We can't afford to buy phones for all the mothers. So we are going to try that. Absolutely, we are going to try that. It'll work.
Here's a member of, obviously, maybe your fan club. Why can't we have her as a politician?
Oh dear. Well, I am what I am today, as you see me today, as you hear me today, because I am not in politics. If I were to have become a politician, I would have become a different person, which would be terrible.
In your spare time, apart from your full-time work with the Sunera story, the Sunera Foundation, what else do you do?
Nothing much else. I have properties, land,
You
inherited properties. So my home is only...
Do you have an interest in botany?
No. I did botany as a subject when I was in school, hoping to do medicine.
How come these, you know, the gardens of Horogala and so on are so nicely maintained? Whose work is that? Yours?
Yes, because I love beautiful gardens, and I have a couple of good gardeners, and I go there often.
What's your favorite flower?
I think I know what you want me to say, so let me say it. My favorite flower is the sexy pink. Sexy pink, yes. Don't emphasize sexy.
No, pink.
Same emphasis on both. Sexy pink.
And what is this thing?
It belongs to the Heliconia family.
Okay.
Right? I don't think you know anything about it, so I'm not going to go into...
No, got the foggiest. I don't know.
No, of course not.
But Bisbee, It's now time for, nearly time for the prime time news. But, thank you ever so much for being on the program. We really appreciate your presence, and we wish you all the very best from the Captain Maharaja Group in your sterling work at the Sunera Foundation, helping the differently abled. Thank you.
Thank you so much for us.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is, you won't see me for the next 4 weeks or so because I'm off on a vacation to see my family. But it's now time for the Primetime News from that wonderful program, the News First Primetime News. So take care, have a wonderful evening ahead of you, and God bless you.